Difficult to make predictions, particularly about the future. Who would have thought a year ago that the news of a virus from Wuhan would bring the entire global economy to a complete standstill and create an economic impact not seen since the Great Depression? And as we entered the world of lockdowns and predictions were made of the huge economic impact, economies started bouncing back and economists were left searching for alphabets to describe the shape of the recovery in different economies. The shock of the virus and the pleasant surprise of the resilience of humankind were both not widely predicted. So I would like to start by saying that predicting too much about the next decade with certainty is fraught with a lot of risk. The year 2020 will go down in history and will be remembered as the year, in my view, of the three Vs: the virus, the vaccine, and the V-shaped recovery we saw especially in India. Within a year, we've seen a stock market crash transform into a bull run, the likes of which has not been seen before. I also believe we've just seen a union budget that is path-breaking in many ways and modeled along the lines of East Asian economies, where the state has often led in terms of investing. The focus on capex and infra spending to kickstart capital formation and the funding of this by privatization and monetization of assets is indeed very important. The expression of the expansionary nature of fiscal policy, not just for FY21, FY22, but all the way till FY25, 26, means the economy is going to have some other legs and strong legs to run on, other than just consumption, which has held us in good stead for a long time so far. I think this budget has put growth up front and center as a priority and puts India back on a growth path of 7 to 8% per year. And it is this kind of growth that India needs to get us to a $5 trillion economy soon, and what is needed, if you ask me, to make each Indian who lives here better off. It is said that no force on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. And I believe that the time has come for India to soon be counted amongst the top 3 economies of the world. India has always had potential, and we have sometimes not delivered to that potential. But I believe that we are now at the cusp of tapping into the innate potential that India has, and that the new decade could well be one known as one which marked the rise of India. The fortunes of the Indian economy and the financial services sector are deeply intertwined. And therefore, what benefits India as an economy will also stimulate the growth of the financial services sector. Over the next decade, there are many trends that I think will pan out that will impact both the economy and financial services. But given the time I have today, I will touch upon only 5 of these very briefly. The first is the demographic advantage that we have, which remains even today unique to us. We currently have the world's second largest population, but we have the world's largest young population. And this changes a lot. Because while many countries will witness a decrease in their workforce, we will actually see an increase. This workforce, armed with the right skills, can clearly contribute towards accelerating our economic growth. A young workforce also means a digitally native workforce. So imagine being one of the few countries in the world with a digitally savvy workforce catering to a digitally savvy customer base. Just imagine what these two could do for each other. The second trend, which I'm sure all of you will agree with, is the change that technology will bring about in every part of our life. Technology has already changed several industries completely, and although the word disruption is widely and frequently used, I think we should accept that almost everything we take for granted today is subject to be changed by technology. The speed at which India is becoming digital and the speed at which we are seeing digital adoption is really phenomenal. COVID has accelerated the rate of digital adoption even more. People who never used a smartphone have now got used to it. Customers who preferred physical shops have now migrated to digital, and they seem to be enjoying the experience and the convenience that this offers. While technology does end up making things much easier for consumers, it also reduces customer loyalty as switching costs reduce, and the ability to move from one provider to another is just a click away. So how do all of us operating in this space deal with this ability to reach out to many more people through technology on the one hand, but the difficulty in holding on to them on the other hand? The financial services customer will expect a fully personalized digital experience. They might soon get used to looking at their financial services providers as an app rather than as a physical office or a physical branch. And then there will be super apps vying for customers' attentions, and providers will need to find a way to integrate into these super apps. The growth of partnerships, the growth of platforms and ecosystems is completely inevitable, and I think will change the landscape of financial services and who accesses what part of the profit pool. The customer will look at providers who are able to simplify and streamline their financial interactions and integrate financial services offerings into their lives in a completely seamless manner. There was a time when reaching a customer or providing a customer access to products was really an advantage. But with technology providing reach to all, with products now becoming more standard, and information now being available much more easily to everyone, the future winners in financial services are likely to be those who actually control the customer interaction. This will need a significant rethink into how we think of our business. I feel that financial services organizations will now have to reimagine everything using technology. On the one hand, while this may sound a bit daunting, I assure you that this opens up a massive opportunity for everyone. Soon, almost 1 billion Indians will have access to the internet. The new segments that are embracing smartphones and the internet include farmers, traders, and small shop owners in many small cities across India. As they become wealthier along with others, they will start consuming products they haven't so far done. This will lead to a significant increase in the consumption of products and services across industries we haven't seen before. The smartphone will end up solving the reach problem, and Aadhaar, we already know, solves the identity problem. So as the reach of digital increases into untapped markets, this will open up a significantly large opportunity for all of us. Financial services in general have thus far been limited in terms of reaching out to Bharat. But as India grows and prospers, Bharat will unlock a wealth of opportunities for providers willing to reimagine their products and processes and reach out to this population all across India. The third trend I would like to call out is global liquidity. We already had an expansionary monetary policy after the global financial crisis, and the pandemic only gave that a massive booster shot. Central banks across the globe have pumped in trillions of dollars and have committed to maintain this stance as long as required. With liquidity being at an all-time high, and with large amounts of money being deployed at negative interest rates, the search for yield will be an ongoing theme for some time to come. India, therefore, must compete globally for these pools of capital, but I think India has and will become an even more attractive destination for both FII and FDI flows. With the way the regulatory landscape has panned out across the world, I think the earlier model of the MNC, especially in the financial sector, has come under some question. And every regulator now wants an entity to be locally established that they can regulate. So as we see growth in India and as money from abroad flows in, I think we can expect this to flow into Indian organizations run by Indian entrepreneurs. But I think we will need to be very thoughtful about, from a policy perspective in this regard, as we figure whether the economic beneficiaries of our growth are going to be foreigners or Indians. The fourth trend that we have seen is the opportunity for India to position itself in the global supply chain. We are the world's largest democracy. Our legal system is transparent, and though sometimes slow, still works very well. There have been many tough reforms in the last few years, whether structural or growth enhancing. These include the introduction of GST, the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, the Real Estate Regulatory Authority, a national education policy, the push for financial inclusion, and so on and so forth. But besides these structural reforms, we're also witnessing a slew of growth-enhancing measures, like the whole Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat program, the production-linked incentive schemes, the reduction in corporate taxes, and of course, the sharp reduction in the cost of capital. However, reforms in land and labor, which I think is hampering our growth, especially in manufacturing, are still needed so we can create more jobs. Despite natural advantages in labor-intensive sectors like textiles, leather, toys, we still can't compete because of some of our labor laws, and I think the higher cost of doing business in some of these areas. We produce global champions in many sectors like auto, pharma, metals, and IT, but we clearly need many new world champions. The disruption caused by COVID has led to global companies stepping up their efforts to implement their China Plus One strategy. This has provided India with a phenomenal opportunity to actually emerge as a global manufacturing hub for the new world, and we need to grab this opportunity with both hands. The fifth and last trend I want to talk about today is the increased awareness and the spending on healthcare. Good health always equals good economics, and the proposal to increase healthcare spends, I think, is a very welcome move. COVID has clearly proven that a healthcare crisis can shrink global GDP very quickly. But while the pandemic has inspired the government to invest in healthcare, I think it has also led to a significant mindset shift in the people of India. People have realized the value of health and the role that insurance plays in their life. It has helped everyone unequivocally realize that they just aren't protected enough. This Healthy India opportunity, if tapped well, would improve the productivity of the workforce for sure, but it could also get life and health insurance penetration to global levels. I feel there is an opportunity for all financial services distributors to think about health and wealth much more holistically, as the mindset of people now has changed to realize that one without the other is probably not good enough. So I hope what I've shared with you today has helped you visualize the opportunities and the true potential of India in the next decade. In spite of living and working abroad, I've always been a die-hard optimist about India. Everything here sometimes tests our patience, but there is no doubt that for those who have the belief, the tenacity and resilience, India is an absolute goldmine of opportunity. Given the spirit of India and every Indian, which was so visible, especially in the last year, I foresee a very bright future for India, one that will see us emerging amongst the most powerful and strongest economies of the world. India will rise, India will shine, and India will thrive. And I hope all of you can make the most of this opportunity called India. Thank you, and have a wonderful conference.